Once upon a time, there was an old man named George. He lived in a village with his little grandson, Arthur. Arthur was only 4 when his parents died in a road accident. George's life felt broken. But he had to stay strong for Arthur. George had never worked before. His son, Johnson, earned for the family. Now Johnson was gone. George started working as a loader. He carried wheat sacks to the city in his cart. He admitted Arthur to the village school. Arthur was now 7 years old. One day, George was at his work. Arthur came home from school. He changed his clothes and went to the kitchen. He took out some bread. He spread jam on it and added a few slices of cheese. After eating, he went to the room. Arthur lay down on the bed.
If my mom were alive, I wouldn't be alone,
he whispered. He wiped his tears. Soon, he fell asleep. An hour later, he woke up. He sat with his school bag and started his homework. He looked at the clock.
Grandpa will come in 2 hours,
he thought. He waited for him eagerly. In the evening, George knocked on the door. Arthur ran and opened it.
Yay! Grandpa!
He shouted with joy. George smiled and walked inside with him. Arthur hugged George.
Grandpa, what's for dinner?
he asked. George smiled.
What do you want to eat, my boy?
Arthur thought for a moment.
Can we have rice and chicken?
Sure.
George said and went to the kitchen. Arthur followed him. George cooked rice and fried small pieces of chicken. He added some vegetables too. Arthur helped by placing plates on the table. Soon, they sat down to eat.
Eat slowly, Arthur,
George said, blowing on the hot rice before giving it to him. Arthur nodded. George started eating with him. George asked,
Do you like it?
Yes, Grandpa. It's tasty,
Arthur said with a smile. George felt happy seeing him eat well. After dinner, George and Arthur lay on the bed.
Arthur,
George said.
Your dad was a very funny man.
Arthur turned to him.
What did he do?
George chuckled.
Once, he put flour on his face and scared everyone, saying he was a ghost.
Arthur laughed loudly.
Dad really did that?
Yes.
George smiled.
And one time, he climbed the old mango tree in the rain, just to bring me the ripest fruit from the top.
Arthur giggled.
Dad was so silly.
George laughed with him.
Yes. He loved making everyone laugh.
Arthur's face lit up with a big smile. As they rested, Arthur suddenly said,
Grandpa, this Sunday I want to go with you.
George looked at him.
But, my boy, you will get tired.
Arthur shook his head.
No, Grandpa. I get bored alone. Please.
George smiled and patted his head.
All right.
Arthur's face lit up.
Yay! Thank you, Grandpa!
Soon, Arthur fell asleep. George looked at him and sighed.
What will happen to him if I am not here?
He whispered.
God, please give me life to raise this boy.
He gently pulled the blanket over Arthur. Then he closed his eyes. In a nearby city, there lived a boy named O'Neill with his mother, Elizabeth. O'Neill's father had passed away 2 years ago. Now, Elizabeth took care of their grocery store. O'Neill was a college student. He was studying for a bachelor's degree in computer science. In the evenings, he often went to the store to help. Elizabeth often said,
O'Neill, you should focus on your studies.
O'Neill shook his head.
Mom, I want to help you. You already do so much.
Elizabeth smiled softly.
I can manage. Your studies are more important.
But I feel better when I help you.
O'Neill replied. Elizabeth looked at him with love.
All right. But only after you finish your work.
O'Neill nodded. One evening, O'Neill was busy on his computer. He was finishing his assignment. After typing the last line, he stretched and said,
I should eat something.
He rushed to the kitchen. He took some bread, a boiled egg, and a few biscuits. He swallowed them quickly. Suddenly, he started coughing. He stood up fast, grabbed a bottle from the fridge, and drank water.
Ah, better.
He muttered. He ate the remaining food in a hurry and ran to the door. Soon, he reached the store. Elizabeth was at the cash counter. She smiled.
Go and check the items we need. Make a list.
O'Neill nodded, picked up a paper and pen, and walked to the shelves to check the items. On Sunday, Arthur was full of excitement. After breakfast, George lifted him onto the cart, and they set off. They went to Farmer Harris's godown, where George began loading heavy wheat sacks onto the cart. Arthur's smile faded. He watched his grandpa struggle. George's hands were trembling, and sweat ran down his face.
Grandpa, can I walk with you now? The sacks are on the cart.
Arthur said softly. George gave a tired smile.
No, my dear. You sit at the side.
Arthur nodded and sat quietly. Soon, George started the journey. After 2 hours, they reached the city and delivered the sacks to the shops.
You want to buy something, Arthur?
George asked. Arthur's face lit up.
Yes. I want color pencils. And a drawing book.
George smiled and bought them for him. Then, they began the journey back to the village. By evening, they were on the road when the cart's tire suddenly burst. The cart stopped in the middle of the road, blocking it. Cars lined up behind them. Drivers honked loudly.
Move this cart!
One man shouted.
Come on, old man! You're blocking the road!
Another yelled. George tried hard to pull the cart aside, but his hands shook. He was drenched in sweat. Arthur climbed down from the cart, his eyes filling with tears. He pushed the cart with his small hands, but it didn't move. Just then, O'Neill came down the same road. He saw everything and stopped. He stepped forward and yelled,
You all can shout, but no one will help this old man.
The drivers fell quiet. He rushed to the cart.
Uncle, hold the wheel.
He said. He pushed hard and pulled the cart to the side of the road. George wiped his face. His eyes were wet.
Thank you, son.
O'Neill spoke.
My house is close. Come rest. We'll fix the cart later.
George hesitated.
We should not trouble you.
It's no trouble.
O'Neill said.
Please.
They went with him. Soon they reached his home. Elizabeth brought tea, cookies, and sandwiches. She served them kindly. George took a sip of tea.
My son died.
He said softly.
Since then I work alone. I fear, when I am gone, who will care for Arthur?
He looked at the boy. Elizabeth put her hand on his arm.
He is like my son now. Just like O'Neill. You do not need to worry.
O'Neill smiled.
Yes, Uncle. Arthur is my little brother.
Elizabeth added.
You work in my store. I need someone honest to look after it. You live in our annex. I will put Arthur in a good school. You will get a good salary.
Arthur's face lit up. Tears filled George's eyes.
You are angels. I am very thankful.
Elizabeth shook her head gently.
No thanks needed. You are like my father.
They all smiled as O'Neill hugged Arthur. Moral: caring for others makes life better for everyone.